G'day and welcome to Beyond All Reason, where today's battle promises a win for one and a loss for the other, of course. It's Wennira versus TankTom, and Wennira is up 5-3. I'm Twig alongside Pradith, and we're ready to break down the chaos as it happens.
You're joining us on Iron Isles, and the water is lava, closing off a couple of the attack options for these guys. So it's going to be an all-out brawl for control over the middle. Having a look at these players, they've recently played on a metal map, so they should have a little bit of experience. Wennira going 2 metals into wind, and he's these being only 1.9 metal value compared to the past map, which was 2.4. So you're going to need more metal, you need more mexes than in previous games. TankTom opening bots this time compared to vehicles, and same for Wennira. So both players are going for a bot heavy and an early center control style of build.
Who's your money with? I'm thinking Wennira is going to win this one again. He's on a roll at the moment. I think he's won the last three. It was 3-0. Now it's 5-3.
I think that it'll come down to TankTom's decision making. Wennira seems to be more consistent. TankTom seems to be the better player who just makes worse decisions. He usually ends up in a position with better economy. He usually ends up in a position with the units to win, but he isn't quite able to close it out. So I'm really hoping for a TankTom victory on this one. But depending on how Wennira plays this one, and because it's very defensive and very closed, as much as I don't want to admit it, I reckon Wennira also has the advantage here.
A little bit more risk with the wind in this map, going down to as low as 5, but that high of 25 does mean throwing down an energy storage unit might be the way to go with wind for the early parts of this eco. Getting a fusion up early, though, would be definitely game changing.
With only a wind risk of 3.8%, still very efficient to go wind, it just won't be consistent. So once you pass that T1 stage, as you said, getting some extra eco will help a lot. TankTom, understanding that there's quite a long distance between the two players, has opted to go for an incredibly greedy start, not even having units yet. He went for 5 constructors with repeat on before getting 10 grunts. He's even got his construction turret up before his first offensive unit, so sleeping heavily in this game, but not punished by Wennira, who's only holding that middle choke point.
It might pay off. He's up 25% of metal per second and up 19%, and respectively up 30 and 13% overall for the metal and energy produced.
But we have seen this before from TankTom. He gets into a very good position, but isn't quite able to capitalize from it. So hopefully the greed will let him overwhelm Wennira, but holding a single choke point can become can be quite simple if you manage to take that middle point. TankTom opting more so for holding both as compared to the one.
I'm liking the radars going down already. Both players playing defensive, and the defender's advantage is real, and that's possibly why Wennira is not attacking. By the time those grunts get over there, he knows he's just going to lose them. But having said that, he wouldn't.
No, he definitely wouldn't. TankTom doing what he needs to, though. With this eco, he is 100% spamming out as many of those builders as he feels he safely can, and he's left them in his build queue, so after the 10 defensive grunts come down, more options to do it. Spacing out his construction turrets, probably out of the fear that has been generated after last game with nuclear bombers coming on in. Nothing too crazy happening at the moment from Wennira. These grunts are finally starting to push across. TankTom is finally starting to get his out, but a lot of that build power is focused on other construction turrets, which means that he'll only have a couple by the time they make it on through. If they happen to go to the high ground instead, the upper path instead of the lower path, then he will find himself an open way through. If he goes to the lower path, he'll have to fight his way through exploiters.
I would
I
like
don't
to see Tom spacing out some of this eco because it will chain react. Those mexes will explode in groups if we get some bombing runs.
I don't mind the idea behind these exploiters. They're gaining him metal at the same time as defending. But these aren't the same as advanced exploiters, which are quite powerful. These are in fact reasonably weak. They have a lot of health, but they have no more range than the regular LLT, which means that they have the same weaknesses as the regular LLT.
What do we got? We got 1440 for the health compared to an LLT's 650. So they're a little bit more durable. Range is the
But
same.
2 LLTs are cheaper
This is true.
and have almost as much health between them and will fire twice as many shots. TankTom in trouble right now. These grunts certainly outnumbering his, and a good engagement for Wennira gets the first shots off. TankTom does have a potential flank here, but Wennira doesn't try and push into the larger quantity of units. Instead, he's going for the runaround. Very smart play on that one, and he's going to bypass all of TankTom's defenses. Even if all he manages to do with these grunts is get up on that hill and take out that eco pile at the top, that's going to be
I
a
like that
huge
Tom's
advantage.
moving the grunts around the other side of the map. He's realised he's not going to catch, so he's going for the push. Going to take away some of that APM from Wennira.
Look at
Wennira getting a
the
better trade.
line coming in from Wennira. He's switched to full production, and there's just not going to be enough to punch through this. Even though they're coming in one at a time, these units will be chipped down. Jumping over to the attack, TankTom getting some LLTs and some thugs up to defend this one. Wennira spreading those units out and walking up the hill, which slows them down just that little bit. Combined with the comm, it looks like he's going to clean all of these up with little to no damage done. That's no damage done for Wennira. Unfortunate there. If Wennira had just picked a slightly different path or grouped them all up so they weren't taking fire from everything all at once, then would not have gone that way. TankTom running his units into the gauntlet, no dice right there. TankTom losing
And
his grunts to nothing.
metal overflowing again. Something that Tom has done a few times is overflow that metal. It is definitely worth throwing down a metal storage unit just to be able to spend that metal later. Currently down 1.5k metal, and it's pouring out very quickly.
He's trying to solve that problem with build turrets, but it's not the build turrets that's the problem, it's the energy. TankTom has a combined energy income of 900 currently, and each one of these build turrets is capable of consuming 200 energy, so not quite going to be the...
I'd actually just go for the advanced solar at this stage for Tom.
Yep. Anything which gets you more power per metal is the go, more power per build power. Because even with all of these down, it's not going to increase the speed he can produce thugs, because he is out of energy.
I'd
Fighting
like to
best
see
he
Wennira
can.
throw down some res bots right now to clean up these wrecks.
TankTom pulling his units back to his defenses. Best thing he can possibly do at this point. Trying to fight these in a 1v1 huddle is not going to work out for him. He's got to fight where he has the advantage. Though from the past attack, Wennira does know the top is completely undefended, so we'll see how this plays out. Noticing the units have stopped, TankTom has moved his thugs in, get a little bit of poke damage while he can, and now those units are surrounded and going to lose a couple. TankTom is backing his thugs up into another group, so it's kind of like a four-way surround, but cleaning out the units as he needs to, and he's about to unite his two forces, though I don't think there's quite enough thugs to take on that many grunts. And that is definitely turning into a win for Wennira, though the thugs are stopping the push at least, so would be good if one of those players managed to get the reclaim, particularly Wennira, who is much lower in the energy department, in the metal per second department. TankTom currently sitting at double Wennira's metal income, but only just now starting to pump those units out. With that wind sitting at plus 25, and with the additional wind farms that he has built, he's now finally cranking out all those units.
That is a lot of thugs. Could we see a win by thugs? I've never seen that before. That metal being chewed up.
Yep, he has managed to eat his metal, which means he needs to go back to scaling his metal compared to scaling his energy. At the moment, without having the metal income, he's got 2,000 excess energy, though that will swing back down as the wind swings down with it. Huge amount
Wennira
of
in
thugs going
T2.
through.
I
And
think it would be worth Tom doing TJ. As I say it, he throws down a lab.
does need to stop producing the thugs while he's producing that lab, though. Those thugs consuming most of his metal. And here we have an engagement in the middle, thugs versus pawns. Grunts. The grunts are pushing on through, getting as much damage as they can, even with the surround bonus, though. The thugs very, very strong, pushing on through.
The slugs probably did just as much damage to themselves as they did to the grunts, and nicely done by Wennira to push them straight into the middle of the thugs so that damage is done in both directions.
Even though thugs are a bit of a tanky assault unit, when you do get into combat and you do see the units charging you, you want to pull them back and kite as much as you can. Even one extra volley before they get in your midst can make the difference between taking a lot of damage and taking none at all.
We can see Wennira now doing those reclaims with those spikes in metal.
TankTom needs the reclaim as well, though, now. After building those extra labs, after getting that extra wind, he could now use more of all economy, and that includes getting the metal reclaim. And all it would take is an additional, a single additional set of Lazarus or grave robbers into the build queue.
Tom skipped and went straight to an Avers, and then he realized his mistake, and he's now going to the fusion.
It's a pretty easy mistake to make. We tend to jump back and forth between the two classes, and the placement in the build queue is not always exactly the same depending on your control scheme. Fiends getting right on into these thugs. Look how much damage they do.
Yeah, Control D would do even more damage, doing double the damage, I think it is. And those slugs, if they were dragged out in a line rather than clumped up, they would have done a lot more damage to those fiends. Still with enough. If he pushes south away from the line of units, I reckon Tom could probably get some of these slugs in there, but not being microed right now.
The mistake that Tom has made through all this, though, the thugs that are in the trailing line behind, anything beyond that sort of halfway point, I don't think they're going to get very much done. So a lot of units there that are counterproductive to his needs. Looking at the income at the moment, TankTom wasting a lot of energy, even though he's going
Tom's diving straight into those Sheldons instead of away from them. You're not going to catch them. You're just going to lose your entire army. These are the decisions you were talking about. Luckily, another decision made down south there, sending those other units in the other direction.
I would have sent 5 to 10, spread out as much as possible, and on a zigzag movement pattern to keep these busy, while sending the rest of the army down the bottom to see what I can get done. Wennira, though, predicting that, and has another Sheldon Bowl preparing over there. These thugs have arrived a little bit too late to really get a lot done in this base. But you can see how tanky they are.
Sorry, Sumo. Can's the total annihilation name for the equivalent unit.
You can see how tanky these thugs are. They're taking... it takes almost an entire volley or more if a couple hit, just to kill each one, so...
You throw a few thugs in front of a line of Sheldons and you get a nice meat shield. Wennira needing to back up those units, and I think we're going to see some damage done to wind here. Probably not going to be worth the metal donation.
If he even,
and Tom just going for the engagement.
Tom going for that, going for the advanced fusion, but again, look at what his meddling, look at his energy right now. It's 1600 spent, or 1700 spent versus 4000 income, which means it isn't actually an APHIS. He doesn't actually need an APHIS, he needs conversion, and on a metal map, you don't actually need conversion. You only need to build as much energy as you're going to spend. The rest is done through mexes.
He has put a few down now, but yeah, you're going to have an excess of over 6,000 energy, I think.
Yeah. And
without conversion.
What he needs is more metal. Now, looking at what Wennira has, this is 2 big groups of Sheldons. How do you counter Sheldons, Twig?
How do you counter Sheldons? With speed. You want to chase them down. So, given that Tom is Cortex, the Fiend, simply go Fiend, spread them out and rush them at them. They'll catch them and take them out really quickly.
Yep. He needs quite a lot of them, though. With there being this many Sheldons, you want to have a similar amount of Fiends, because look what's happening. Even these few are getting pretty close, but that's not enough to do what he needs to do. And you want to absolutely overwhelm this army and catch it. Whereas right now he's going to be on the fighting retreat. TankTom needs to build up as many of those as possible. But he also needs
Tommy's
to
got a
stop the
good
thug
eco.
production.
Yeah, the thugs have lost their value now.
Yeah.
With this many Sheldons, this size Sheldon bolt, it's only going to take one volley to take out one thug. And these Sheldons pop out a plasma bullet every... How long does it say? It doesn't tell you that.
So there's currently 14 Sheldons on the field. The Sheldons cost... Oh, sorry, thugs... There's 14 thugs on the field. Thugs cost 140 metal compared to the Fiends, which are 200. So those 14 could be 10 additional Fiends. And 10 additional Fiends would actually be enough to clean this up.
T3 transition for Tom. Needs to reclaim that lab and just get down a few more metal extractors and we'll be looking fine and dandy. Needs more build power to be spread out as well. No teams with anti-nuke at this stage yet.
Surprising considering that...
on the front line for Wennira to reclaim. Let's select a constructor. 5,500.
Here we go, and those Fiends taking damage they can't afford to take.
Oh, that's terrible clumping up, and they just go down so quick.
Yep. And that is the units that Tom needed in order to deal with this. As I said, could you imagine if he had 10 more of those instead of the thugs? He'd actually be getting onto them right now. Yep.
The Shivas will counter these, though, just with the amount of damage that they take. But for some reason, these construction turrets aren't doing a hell of a lot. They're in an error. I wonder if Tom's going to... Oh, wow, they've actually errored. They've locked onto something and they're not building.
That is a mighty shame for TankTom. Looks like that's because they're on a patrol command to that one thing.
I do not know what's happening there with Tom.
Is that something we should actually say? Because that seems more like a bug than an intentional decision.
Yeah, we could maybe jump across and tell him he's got a bug in the game. He just needs
Here
to...
we go.
Oh, no, he
fixed.
needs to get it out. He just needed to click on something.
At the moment, TankTom taking a lot of damage from these Sheldons that he really didn't need to if he'd stopped the thug production and had those 10 extra Fiends, and if he hadn't clumped them all up quite so much, would be in a very different spot right now.
I do think, though, with this economic advantage he has, and the fact that Wennira is just going defensive into defending from air and just keeping the same production with Sheldons, I think TankTom might see an advantage soon. I'd love to see a demon out. I don't like the demon, but
a demon against Sheldons will do very good. At the moment, it's 390 metal a second to TankTom versus 105 for Wennira, so there's definitely the capability right here. If TankTom manages a good engagement against these units, which basically means that he needs a radar up, a Juno to shove in and take out the range advantage.
Tom is really making a mistake by just focusing that build power on just the T3 lab. It's not allowing those construction turrets to jump and assist other construction turret construction. And he also really needs to consider spreading out his base a little bit more. Both players do, actually. Tom in trouble. He needs to throw down some defenses. He needs to push these forward and separate them.
Great micro out of Wennira. He is managing to keep these T3 units completely unable to get into the fight.
Yeah, one catapult. Does Tom have radar here? Yes, he does.
But there's enough radar jammers that it's not going to be overly effective. TankTom getting radar jammers on the front lines, but he is not attaching them to the units, so they're staying outside of its range, at least for the moment. And now it's going to be a bit of a stalemate for the moment, and a stalemate is advantageous for TankTom. Looks like the demons are coming. TankTom has recognized that that is a threat that needs to be taken care of. One shot from those Shivas, absolutely devastating into that pack of units. All it's going to take is some very minor engagement wins from TankTom to destroy all these units, so when you're really playing with fire, he has to take this time to scale his economy, which he is not overly doing. Instead, he's looking into an air transition.
We really need to see some more build power come out of TankTom with this metal. Like, it is insane how much metal he's throwing away. Metal excess is $16,500 compared to 0 from Wennira.
And he's sitting on 29,000, which is enough for a jug. Oh, big missile hit right there from these Shivas, but the Shivas are just going down. Great control out of Wennira, just not letting TankTom get these units in. And you were saying the demons might be interested to see, but look what's happened to the demon.
There's just too many Sheldons.
Mm-hmm.
I think some grunt spam would go well, and that's exactly what's happening finally. Tom just needs, it's so frustrating seeing these 20 or so construction turrets just focused on that one lab and not allowing for them to jump between different things. We could see another construction turret field here and here be built and assist the lab. I can't believe how much damage these Sheldons are getting, already getting 111 kills for this one army.
Mm-hmm. I just, I'm blown away right now at TankTom is continuing to build eco, but he's not building any way to spend it. He's actually capping out on how much energy he can. Like he needs advanced fusion right now. He needs build power. It's very cool that he's getting a Juggernaut, but he doesn't actually have the energy to build a Juggernaut. It's 3 minutes away.
And
And
now he's
build
going
power
with the
isn't the
construction
problem.
turrets. And if that goes down, that's going to be a problem for him as well. The chain reaction will be
Very
real.
rough. And meanwhile, while this is happening, Wennira is doing another air transition. And TankTom is completely defenseless against air. There we go, he's getting an APHIS currently building with a 30-minute build time. There
Oh,
we go,
it hurts.
now some
What are you
build
doing,
power
Tom? We
coming
know you're
down
better
onto
than
it.
that. And look at these Sheldons going around the back, and I reckon we could see a commander snipe right here.
I think Wennira's got this one in the bag because TankTom is just...
He's got a 400% eco advantage on metal and 200 on energy, and he's just not doing anything with it.
completely incapable of spending it, and he's left one entire half of the map open for attack. And here we go, because he's going for that jug, and he's got no way of producing it. He's out of units. The Sheldons are just going to be able to push in now, and TankTom is 10 minutes away from his next unit coming out.
I don't even have anything to say. I'm very disappointed in Tom. We play with him every day. I've never seen him play like this before.
He's just,
And there goes the construction turrets, like I said. Oh no.
all chain reacting, and that's TankTom out of the match, essentially.
Yeah,
With no build
done.
power, he's done. Doesn't matter if you've got the best eco in the world. If you don't balance
the
it
commander's about
out,
to fall, and here comes the bombers.
Yep.
You know what? He does deserve to lose this.
Yep, 100%. He was in the winning position, or like he was in an absolutely crazy winning position, but he just couldn't do anything with it.
We gotta drag him into this and ask him what was going on. Let's jump across to TankTom and Wennira.
Battle ended.
Had nothing to get in range.
Tom. I've never seen such an eco advantage for a player to lose. You were 400% eco up on Wennira.
I couldn't actually. Like, the problem I had was everything that was fast enough, or anything that had enough health to deal with them, died on the way there, and I didn't have anything that was fast enough to kill him whilst he was running backwards with that amount of firepower.
Grunt spam would have gotten there.
Yeah, enough of it would have.
Yeah, grunt spam would have been an easy option. Ground firing, one catapult would probably take out that whole army just in one volley.
Catapults is really nasty against it.
The catapult only costs, I think, like 3,000 metal, so it'll be up and about. With the build power you had there, it'd be up in about 10 seconds, I reckon.
Twice the time of a single Shiva.
Yeah.
So that was a TankTom. You had the resources, you just weren't able to turn them on and get them into play.
The game about decision making, unfortunately, and yeah, unfortunately, you did have a little bit of anti-air that got taken out on the front line, but then after that, no anti-air, so those bombers were always going to get great value. And it was a good job for Wennira just to go for those extra pronged attacks. Like, don't just focus on one thing. It's the game's about what can I do to break this line and answering those questions.
Just quickly looking at the stats, TankTom, you had 1.5 million excess energy and 100k excess metal, which is quite the amount by the end of the game.
Wennira, you had an excess metal of 0. So in the end, what was produced? So Tom, you produced 273. Wennira produced 91. Spent 91. You still spent, yeah, about double what Wennira. So the eco rule of advantage, just need to get the right unit for the job in that instance, and that would have probably been an easy win if that Sheldon ball died.
Yeah, if the Sheldon ball died, I was basically out of options there.
Yeah. And yeah, as well, when you get to the T2 stage of the game, always get your commander into the safest possible position and put it on invis when it's a 1 versus 1 game. That's probably the only other tip I have for that one.
And on that note, we'll leave that one there. If you enjoyed the video, drop us a like and subscribe. And if you want to come join us or drop a replay for us, head on down into the description and join us on the Discord. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye. Sorry.